Hello indie game fan, for as sweet as 90% off on indie games is, those titles tend to be older games, so for some more recent offerings, here are my picks for the Steam summer sale with some decent discounts. Let's begin with the pixel art run and gun platformer Blazing Chrome, one of my favourites from 2019, where it's old school in both design and visuals. It's an arcade title, so expect limited continuous and hardcore difficulty, where the closest comparison to this would be Contra Rogue Core, but there's a little bit of Metal Slug in this as well. It's a fantastic run and gun title, a subgenre not commonly seen these days, and of course it's better with a friend. The roguelite deck builder has been increasing in popularity due to its latest buyer, where deck building elements have seeped into every possible genre, so do bear with me if you don't like it, but an underrated gem in the space is Fate Hunters. Play as various character classes, ascending the tower, battling enemies along the way in order to get as much loot as you can. There's a nice variety of unlockable character classes, each of which feels unique to play as, and there's also a very interesting push your luck risk-reward system that gives you the chance to exit after every level, but if you choose to soldier on, the rewards do get compounded in a very tempting way.
Surprise, buttface!
Do try not to die while action items remain unticked.
Gotcha!
Client expired.
I'm looking to you for a paradigm shift towards competence.
Void Bastards from 2019 has one of the most distinctive looks, looking as if it popped out from a comic book, where it's a roguelite first-person shooter with more in common with System Shock 2 rather than Doom.
Come here so I can give you
You play as successive, expendable prisoners sent on various dangerous missions to recover items, jumping from one derelict spaceship to the next in order to do so. The various prisoners have a variety of traits, similar to Rogue Legacy, which does keep the game interesting from run to run, but even if you do die, tools that you have crafted and items you have collected will carry on, making it something different in the first-person space that's worth checking out. Speaking of deck builders, Steamworld Quest Hand of Gilgamech was a very nice surprise at launch, since it comes to us from the developer of the Metroidvania series, Steamworld Dig, so it certainly was a change of genres. The setting was switched up as well, trading in the western theme with a classic high fantasy one, where the main hook is that it's a deck builder that's not a roguelite. The combat system is one of the more interesting elements, where characters can work together and combo in interesting ways, and the variety of playable characters and the party limit of 3 does lead to some variety. Gorgeous game, good mechanics and a decent plot makes this one to get. Add one more roguelite deck builder to the list with NEOVERSE, the game with 3 playable classes in Agent, Paladin and Summoner, set in a world that's just a crazy mishmash of genres and themes, from aliens to robots and dragons. As compared to its latest buyer, this does have some unique mechanics like parrying, which are fun to build around, so there's something here even for seasoned deck builder fans. Other than that, not much of a main story, and is a little rough around the edges, but one of the most mechanically interesting games in the space. Platonic Games might be considered not so indie, since I believe quite a number of ex-Rare developers are there, but semantics aside, the classic platformer title, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair is not to be missed. While the original Yooka-Laylee perhaps failed to set the world on fire with his take on the Banjo-Kazooie style 3D platformer, the Donkey Kong Country-like nature of the sequel has impressed so far. It feels like a very retro platformer, down to the humour and puns, but the titular Impossible Lair is the most interesting part of the design. You're able to access the final level right from the get-go, where it's an extremely difficult challenge, and where playing the regular levels will essentially grant you extra lives for the stage, but feel free to attempt it to test your skills. Another fan favourite title is Dicey Dungeons, a run-based episodic title about going up against Lady Luck herself in a twisted game show. I absolutely love the variety in characters, where each is unique and feels so different, making it another masterclass in game design from the developer of VVVVVV and Super Hexagon. It's been getting patches and upgrades since launch, so it's as good a time as any to jump in. I mentioned the upcoming Metroidvania title, Frontier Hunter Urza's Wheel of Fortune, when covering the Steam Next Festival, where it's totally worth going back to the earlier game in the roguelite platformer, Tower Hunter Urza's Trial. It uses 3D models and environments, which I'll admit I'm not the biggest fan of, but given how I came to love Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, I think that you can get there with this as well. You're exploring a mysterious tower, defeating monsters and bosses to earn your hunter's license and to become the most powerful battle maiden. The translation is a little rough, coming to us from a non-native English-speaking developer, but that aside, great action, compelling upgrade system, and a nice variety of enemies and areas makes this one of interest. One of the classic indie games is One Finger Death Punch from 2014, where the simple 2-button control scheme was used in a very clever manner, and its sequel in 2019 is the best way to experience this right now. While it does use Stickman, the animation and art will surprise you, being one of the fastest, most insane and fun experiences out there. I love the sheer variety of levels and modes, where it's never about button mashing, but you do need to get into the groove, making it somewhat of a rhythm game that simply feels awesome to play. is the cheapest title on this list, which makes it excellent value for money with the amount of content, and is a must get if you don't own this already.
You button-mashing fool!
As a fan of Metroidvanias, I do love encouraging people to pick them up, but my pick for this sale is Time Spinner, currently at its historical low of 60% off. It spent a very long time in development, so when it finally launched in 2018, expectations were high, but it did manage to deliver. From the UI elements, it is clearly paying tribute to Symphony of the Night, with the names of the enemies popping up, for example, where you play as a timekeeper jumping through time and space in order to get revenge on the empire that killed her family. Unique attack system using orbs, as well as clever time manipulation abilities makes this a must play, not to mention the gorgeous pixel art, taking the #1 spot. For more Metroidvania hidden gems, watch this video and I will see you after the jump.